need a higher ceiling. Well, I'ma 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 need a higher ceiling.
Welcome to Miller and Dricksy's pod, baby. This is episode number 3. We got a very special guest here today, Mr. Mitchell, snapping to a Scrimgeour. Hey, welcome to the pod, brother.
I appreciate it.
Good to see you, man. So me and Mitch, Jake, we've known each other for a long time. And a long time is relative because we're not that old. But I remember back even in middle school, mobbing Carver County Fair, baby.
What?
Yeah,
You've known for that long?
Carver County Fair.
Okay.
I think that's where we met. Yeah. And you got a twin brother,
Yep.
right? Now, are you guys identical? Or
No, we're fraternal.
I was about to say, because you don't look a lot alike. You look like your brothers, but you don't look like you're identical by any means. That's where we met. Have you met him before?
Nope.
Well, Mitch, that's Jake, and Jake,
man.
that's
What's
Mitch.
up, buddy?
So, Jake, if you ever wonder who I ask first to play in scrambles before I text you, it's this guy.
Hey,
Just-
that's fine.
Whenever it gets to you, that means he's out.
Well, it's usually because I can't play up in Canada.
That's true, yeah. Come on. I don't live that far north, man. It takes me like 35 minutes to get. How long did it take you to get here this morning?
36 minutes from Victoria to here.
Oh, that's not too bad. Thanks for coming in, slipping and sliding. Mother Nature's being a son of a bitch this morning. As soon as you think it's time in Minnesota to play golf, then you get this sleet and rain and shit. So that's kind of bullshit.
Why wouldn't you call me anyways, though? Usually
Listen.
your scrambles are 4-man.
I understand that, but it's usually I need one more person.
Oh,
Okay, so let's reverse. All right. If I ever call you and tell you I need one more guy because somebody asked me to get 2, you're my second call.
got it.
And I don't want to hurt your feelings, but this is why. And we're going to get into why, the way that
All right.
things that he'll talk about. No, but I wanted to start with the story. So speaking of scrambles, me and Mitch played in a scramble at Glencoe Country Club one time. Have you ever played?
Didn't we play in one
We did.
there?
We went up there with SEMG, sponsored a whole team up there.
And we played with Chris.
TaylorMade. Yeah. Chris Eichenberg from TaylorMade. Yeah, that was a hoot and a holler for sure.
got
But we were up
hammered.
there. I think it was a Cardinal.
That's a scramble, isn't that kind of a given?
that's like a must. Like, let's check down the list here today. So we showed up.
let me just quick interrupt here. We'll talk about that for
Okay,
one quick
okay.
second. The TaylorMade reps playing with us. I had don't know how many beers, but it was a lot. And then we started hitting the fireball.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
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 And so I was just not playing well. The first 9, fine. The back 9, I was skying driver. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, get your wrench. I'm fixing your driver. I'm like, oh yeah, this is sure. It's the TaylorMade rep. He's got to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
My driver was fucked for the next goddamn 12 months.
I whispered in his ear. I said, I really need to beat him for the next 12 months. So if you could just fuck with this driver, that was the time.
It was so bad.
That really made
Anyways.
him. Yeah, he. That's probably why he's taking so long with your wedges. Because
Yeah,
he remembers that.
better-
Well, we still won that tournament. But anyway, me and Mitch were playing another one. I think it was Cardinal. Maybe it was the Cardinals tournament, Young
Yeah.
America Cardinals tournament.
Yep.
And I get to force them together. You couldn't play. I did ask you, but you couldn't play. Just so you know, you let me down. But Mitch came in the clutch, and his dad played in your spot because you couldn't play.
Good.
And his dad can get around the course. Is he how you started playing? Did he kind of get you into it?
Yeah, I got to play on Saturday mornings with my dad and my uncles. I got to play the par 3s.
There you
and
go.
Then I graduated on from that to playing.
And then pretty
playing
soon you
more.
were. It didn't take long to get better than your pops, I'm sure. But anyway, his pops catches fire like 4 holes in,
Like putter or
on the putting
everything?
green. Oh yeah, dude.
Dad can putt.
Like 25-footer for eagle.
He filled in for me perfect.
I know, but he would go first, which was crazy. So there's 4-hole span where it doesn't even get to one of us. He just catches fire like that. And then we had to he'd miss one and we'd be like, shit, we haven't
have to
putted
putt.
all day.
Yeah.
But that was fun. Yeah. It's when you talk about scrambles, like if us 3 and then we throw Garrett, who was on last week, I don't know if you saw that, but you throw us 4 on a scramble,
Yeah, it's going to be pretty gross.
it's just not going to even be fun for anybody else playing in that scramble. Not to toot our own horns, but anywho, that's where I want to kind of transition into Mitch over here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been playing golf, and, you know, what kind of got you into it. You know, you kind of alluded to that before, but give us a little bit of a rundown, if you would.
Yeah, so I started at Swings in Chanhassen. I don't remember if you remember this place. There's a big daycare center there now.
Okay.
It's kind of right. It's probably one street up from Prince's Palace there.
All right.
And I got to hit golf balls there for a lesson, first time as a kid. And I remember my brother and I trying to hit our drivers past the 100-yard marker. That was our goal. Who can hit
Jake
it?
still tries to do that too. Yeah.
With the old Hippo Junior set that's got the shaft that, you know, you can turn it into a U shape.
Yeah.
And then I got to go to Glencoe. And so my dad started playing golf there when we moved back from Colorado when I was 4. So that was his time away on Saturday mornings to play with the guys. And I was so fortunate to be able to ride in the cart and play the par 3s.
Nice.
And then from Glencoe, I was there for a little bit. I went to Timber Creek in Watertown.
Yeah.
Great track. I still have a lot of memories there. Still join there every single year. Just a tradition because it's a place that taught me where to play and how to become a person.
Yeah.
I spent more time on the golf course than with kids with my own age, I should say.
We played there one time, didn't we?
Yep. It was a rainy day. You showed up. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I showed up. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was probably a couple years in.
Yep.
So after Timber Creek, then where'd you head off to? Now I know you served this great country of ours. When was that kind of in between there?
That
before
was
you went there.
So high school, you graduated 2009. I went into the Air Force April of 2010. And
Okay.
that's when my game, I actually felt like it started to turn. Believe it or not, Air Force guy, I got to play golf every day.
Wow.
I got stationed in Southern California, and I was a cop in the Air Force that did base defense.
Yeah.
So I'd work 10 at night to 6 in the morning in the high desert in California. And so I'd get off work at 6 a.m. I'd go to the course, play till 1, go home, eat dinner,
Yeah.
go to sleep, and then wake up and do it all over again. I mean, I wouldn't leave the golf. I wouldn't leave base for like 2 or 3 months at a time
Wow.
because I had the golf course there.
So they have their own golf course on base, or there's like their own personal golf course?
Yeah, so military-wise, big decisions are made about where you sleep in the military.
Yeah.
So I always tell people in the Army, you sleep with 30 other dudes. The Navy, you sleep in somebody else's bed. The Marine Corps, you sleep in a foxhole. The Air Force, you get your own room, and they have a golf course on every single Air Force base.
Nice.
And so I'm like, sign me up, tell me what I got to do. I'm
Hell
out
yeah.
here. Yep.
Well, it has to do with the flight. You got to check the flight of your ball as well as everything else. No, that's awesome. So how long do you serve for? And then you got back, and then what happened after that?
I was in the Air Force for 4 years, so I got out in 2014.
Okay.
And at the time, I was like, I'm just going to go to Mankato State and become a cop because that's what I did in the Air Force. It'd be a super easy transition to being a cop.
Mavericks, baby.
Yep. I did 1 semester there, and then I got asked if I wanted to play junior college golf up in Fergus Falls.
Okay.
And so probably 23 and a half, 24 at the time I'm up there and playing with fresh out of college or fresh out of high school guys that are 18 years old. I did that for 1 semester, and
Yeah.
I got tired of kids asking me to go buy them beer.
Oh,
And
God.
so I decided I better go get a real job. And
Yeah.
so my family's had this real estate business for 20 years, and I just came home and got serious with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you left Timber Creek. Now you were at Island View for a little bit. I remember we played there, and you won a couple club championships there too. If I don't.
I have 1 on the board in 2017, and
Okay.
the place is still near and dear to my heart. I actually serve on the board there right now.
Nice.
I have 2 more years left there, and yeah, so I'm still there. Still a huge place in my heart. It's just I want to see it become a little more than it is right now.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while too. I remember we talked about stuff like that, and nothing against Island View. I think it's a beautiful course, but there's a lot of I'd say agronomy things that could be done.
Yep.
If I'm saying that right. So good. Yeah, they're probably really fortunate to have you on the board. Been seeing on the social waves, you're moving on up in the world. I see you're where are you at now? You can tell the folks.
I just joined Hazeltine first part of the year.
Nice.
And so this is very exciting for Megan and I, not just myself, because she's really starting to get into the game, and
Yeah.
I think it's really going to provide some resources that allow me to reach my goals. And I've always wanted to contend for a state am, and now I feel like I have the resources at my fingertips to to really make a run at it.
Yeah, man, I don't know when it was, but I was early on in my golfing career. I ended up caddying for him, Jake, one time. And I remember I was in the midst of trying to quit chewing. So, of course, when I quit chewing, I'm smoking. And I'm caddying for him at the same qualifier, just ripping Gertz the whole time, sitting on the hill, just watching. Yeah, I think the putt moves a little right.
Where was that? Was that in Cannon
Where
Falls?
was that? Where did we
Or
go?
like,
I can't remember.
Wasn't it Gopher Hills or something?
It might have been Gopher Hills.
Yeah. I'm sure I was in it until about hole 13. Then I probably had a blow up.
I don't know if you were
knows?
were you there?
I don't know.
You might have been there. But anyway, huffing and puffing, just walking. And yeah, you played really well. I think it was the last few holes just kind of got out of it. I know off the tee has been something I've seen you working on a lot and kind of getting more of that speed involved. Now, you've always had a high smash factor. I've always thought in my mind, if you could mix my swing speed with your smash factor, the ball would go a long way, but you still move it pretty good. Is that what you're focusing on the most this year, you think? Because every other part of your game, I mean, it's pretty tidy. I think the only thing has been off the tee.
Yeah, it's become a focus of mine to hit it harder. I jumped into CrossFit 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought that'd be a good way to really try to build up some power and, what do they call it? The quick flex muscles, the ones that need to move quickly.
Yeah, quick twitch.
You're jumping a lot and you're moving quickly to throw weight, just kind of like you're throwing a golf club.
Yeah.
And, it was a great start to it, and I thought this is going to be really good. And I hit the ball all over God's green earth.
You're right.
and I hated it. Part of it, I blame it on the golf club too.
Yeah, right. It's never you.
The TaylorMade sim driver was trash, in my opinion.
Okay.
I hated it. I know the second one's really good. I've heard good things about the second one.
Yeah, I got Ixnay on the IMSA. I mean, that's a Sim 2 baby right here.
Yeah. But I went to a shorter shafted driver, like a 44-inch, I think it was 44-inch driver shaft on a Ping G400 LST.
Is it pink?
It was not pink.
Okay, good.
Bubba can keep that. That's only for Bubba Watson.
Yeah, right.
Unless you hit the ball like Bubba, then that's the only way you can hit a shaft like that. Yeah.
Real men put pink on their drivers.
Yep. Yeah, right now I'm really trying to move it out there more. I've been I connected with Larry Bobcott, a second swing, who I think is just a phenomenal human being.
Yeah, you know Larry, Jay.
I don't think I do.
Who do you know over at Second Swing?
Tyler Fitzel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Everybody who plays golf in the community seems to really have a guy over there.
Yeah.
But Larry's I want to say he's old school, but he knows the technology and how to find the best golf club to fit in your hands. And so I played. What happened last year? I played down at Brackets with Austin Eaton, who won the U.S. Mid-Am.
Yeah.
He played in the Masters, I believe, in 05. But it was cool. So I got to meet Larry there and play with Austin. And Larry's like, you need to come in and get fitted. It's not your golf swing, it's your golf clubs. Yeah. And so now we went in, I tested the 400 LST against my new Epic Speed, which isn't the Rogue ST, even though we'll talk about that more.
Oh, right.
But still, I picked up 40 yards of carry on average from just switching drivers to a longer shaft, some different things that he put in my hand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
It made a huge difference for me when I got my new driver.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 15, 20 yards of carry. And I'm not a big guy, so like 15, 20 yards is a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and that was with the sim.
That was pretty rhetorical that you're not a big guy.
But I have,
We all know that.
a nice graphite designed shaft. I mean, you get the right equipment fit for you.
Yep.
And not spend the money above and beyond the stock stuff. You're going to see a huge improvement in dispersion and distance and all those things, don't you think?
absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
I think it's crazy, the technology nowadays, and it really makes me think about those old timers that had to hit the screws. If they had the technology that we have today, how good,
Some of them
how good would they have been? I mean, they were good in their time because everybody was kind of on the same playing field, and it's still the same thing today. Everybody's on the same playing field, so yeah, your skill level, whatever the case may be. But watching you watch, Arnold Palmer, or even like a John Daly, the clubs he had, and he was still bombing it 340 yards.
I recently heard that Tiger's kid, Charlie, when he's practicing at home, Tiger makes him use muscle back irons. And then when he goes into tournaments, he lets him hit the muscle cut, so he gets a little bit more forgiveness, but he's learning to hit the harder golf clubs. So when he goes into competition, he gets a little more forgiveness with the set versus what he's practicing with.
That's crazy.
Just the mindset, some of these guys. And speaking of Tiger, it looks like he might play, knock on wood.
He's not driving down there and walking the course to not play.
Correct. I mean, he's got some time on his hands a little bit, but
I don't know.
it's exciting.
It's hard to say because, he just came out of that car accident. It's hardly been a year. We all thought he was going to lose his leg. I mean, it was like we lost Kobe and then we almost lost Tiger, like not too far apart.
Yeah, right.
And now here he is again making another worldly comeback, just like nobody in the world could probably do this except Tiger.
Yeah.
I think that's just so crazy because he doesn't need to play. You know what I mean? That's the craziest thing is he doesn't need to.
But he does in his own mind because he's still got to beat Jack.
Yeah.
He has to beat Jack. That's like his own. That's the one thing I think in the end, if Tiger is standing wherever it might be on his deathbed one day, and he didn't beat Jack, that's going to be the one thing he could look back
I have
and say,
visions
I
of
didn't
Tiger
do.
showing up, in a walker all the way to the tee. Somebody just hands him a club. He's like, I just got to beat Jack.
But he did step up and say, I don't need to win any more tournaments. Mm-hmm. But but that internally, there's just no way that that's what is actually being processed.
Yeah, it'd be hard. I think it's hard for any amateur to fathom what goes on, let alone a professional's mind. And then you look at one of the best to ever do it. Yeah. How can you even imagine like what that guy's thinking of?
Well, there's your professional, like the Keegan Bradleys, Kevin Kisners, Tony Finau's of the world.
Yeah.
But those guys do not even come close to the mentality that Tiger has.
Man.
Tiger's so mentally strong. He's one of the toughest dudes in the world. I don't think any of those other tour players are as mentally tough as Tiger is. And that's why he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And still to be able to hit it that far is crazy.
I started listening to a new podcast, Sweet Spot. I don't know if you guys have heard it. It's a golf podcast.
Okay.
They talk a lot about the mental aspect of the game is equally as important as the physicality of it or whatever. And they were talking about Mickelson. Like if Mickelson would have had a better swing like Tiger or whoever, and because his mental game is so good, he would have won 50 majors.
Right.
Mickelson would have took his physicality more seriously.
Just because his hands and stuff, like he's just his hands and every timing, whatever, he's just, pretty good. And then his mental is really good as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Phil was a big dude when he was playing against Tiger. He didn't go to the gym and run 2 miles twice a day and pound balls for hours. Maybe he did, but
not a lot of guys did. When those two were coming in, I think Tiger was the first one that touched a weight. You look at and still, you look at the Pat Perez's of the world. There's still guys out there. I ain't lifting a weight. I'm not doing it. I'm going to eat bad because I want to, and all that good stuff.
Where's the pizza place?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the best pizza place? Yeah, exactly. Talking about the PGA, I'm looking forward to the Valero Texas Open is one of my favorite tournaments. I think just because I've played there, at TPC in San Antonio. Well, they have two courses there. They have one I think is called the Canyons, and the other one's the Oaks. I'm pretty sure, and they play on the Oaks. That course is long and difficult, and it was even more difficult. I went down there, and I wasn't able to bring my clubs, so I had to have rental clubs. And
Lost cause.
I don't even know. I think it was just like regular stiff shaft, and I don't really. Back then, I surely didn't hit a draw, but I was hitting draws. Like I was slinging across the right side of the fairway and hope it came back to like the left side of the fairway. It was crazy, but no, people that watch that on TV just don't understand how long it was. And where I was playing from the tips that they could let you play on. Can't even imagine. I mean, that last par 5, when guys are there and they're going it for 2. I can't tell you how long that fucking hole is. It is insane.
How many yards? 632?
Oh, it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be close to over 600 for sure. And those guys are getting there in 2.
That's nuts.
Oh man.
Longest par 5 in the state of Minnesota. What's the longest one you've played from the back tee?
I know the longest par 4 I've played. Number 9 at TPC. If we play from all the way back, that was the longest par 4 I've ever played. It's like 513 or something like that.
Okay.
Something crazy. I can't think of the longest par 5. I think the most difficult par 5, as far as it's not the longest as the eagle flies, but down at Summit, that horseshoe one, it's like not even fair. Like you can't get there in 2. Like
That one at Emerald too is like 650 or something.
But is that can
it's
you?
not hard. You
Oh,
can
is that the one
kinda
that's a little
cut-
dog leg, right?
It's a dog leg right, but it's way up the fairway, especially
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you play from all the way back. It's like I think it's almost 700.
Or that one
yards.
in Hazelton is that what hole is that? It's a par 5 where it's got once you get up to the green, there's water on the left.
Is it? That one's kind of short, actually.
That one's short now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's now. It's short. It's
Yeah.
I would say it's like 570 from that back tee.
Okay. I know the longest par 5 I ever played was 800 yards in TPC Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah.
The one that always stands out to me is at Windsong number 9. It's
Never
uphill.
played it.
It's 605, 610 from the back tee. And
Some of us haven't been invited to go with you to
Yeah.
Winsong, and I'm not going to name any names, but there's 2 of us in this room
Yeah.
that haven't been invited, and so good for you, Mitch.
Yeah.
How far is it? Did you say though? 590,
No, it's 610 from the back tee.
610.
It's uphill. So there's like a
So it's
carry-
610 and it's uphill.
Well, it's kind of a carry point. You got to get up a hill, and then it kind of if you get it over that hill, then it runs down. But then the second shot is all uphill from there.
So talking about length, and I'm glad we're on this subject, right? Golf club length, Mitch. Just not get excited over there, but
Yeah.
so is that where you play some of these longer par 5, and you're not short by any means, and you weren't short by any means. You still hit it. I mean, what 280 before you started getting into this stuff?
Yeah, probably a 280, 285 was probably a good number.
There was a good stint there that it was more about hitting the fairway for you, but now watching these videos of you, you're really trying to get that length. Now, is that help? Is the technology helping you hit it long and straight, or is it you're working on both, or what are you just trying to pound it as far as you can right now?
So I've started to dabble into Decade a little bit. It's a new system that Scott Fawcett put out there that a lot of tour guys are starting to switch to. Will Zalatoris uses it. He's just kind of come out of nowhere. It's just about picking targets off the tee. What you look at is kind of if there's 40 yards between a hazard line,
Yeah.
it's a driver every time. If it's less than 40, you kind of work your way back from there.
Okay.
And so my thought now is, well, if I can get my driver to a place where I can hit it on the TrackMan or outside, and I can keep it inside of a 40-yard spread, more or less using the way you hit a golf ball off the tee as like a shotgun pattern.
Right.
And so try to find your pattern and try to keep it between that 40-yard pattern and let it go. Mm-hmm.
I think you would really benefit from that a lot.
Well, that's what they were talking about on the sweet spot. That same shotgun pattern situation.
Yeah.
And so I haven't always been a super numbers guy, but now I'm super statistical in what I try to digest, but then turn it off on the golf course. And so I analyze it as much as I can when I'm at home and when I'm working on it. But when I'm on the golf course, I just pick my target. This is why I picked that target. I've learned about it and digested it to this point. But so if you look at the guys that are shooting numbers lower more regularly, they hit the ball farther.
Yeah.
The average club head speed on tour now is like 112 miles an hour,
Right.
which is, I mean, I still have to work. I'm probably at around 112 unless I step on one. I get it up to about 116.
Yeah.
That ain't me.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's the difference between just natural God-given talent and, for me, I don't think my biggest number right now that I'm trying to hone in on is smash factor, because if I can get my swing speed to match up with the smash factor, it would be insane. I'm right in that 146 smash factor. Right. And, I see your numbers, you're at the 4.8 to 4.9. That's a big difference in smash factor. If I could get to that, but that's the difficult part when you swing so fast is that smash factor. So what are you more focused on, since your smash factor is already good? So is it trying to get the swing speed up, or is it your swing plane? What number are you looking at in the TrackMan, if any?
If any, it's lately with driver, it's been my attack angle.
Okay.
And it's been my spin rate.
Yeah.
And my attack angle has been at like 5 degrees up on the golf ball lately.
That's pretty stupendous.
Yeah, but it's, I don't know. I have some things in my golf swing that I don't love that I'm trying to work on to help minimize curvature in the golf ball when I pick a target and try to work it one direction.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times what happens is hyperextend, which means your hips kind of come into the golf ball, which a lot of us struggle with because
All of us.
We sit at
Yeah.
we sit at desks all day. We're driving around in the car. Our lower body just doesn't want to move.
Yeah, that lower core.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a huge problem for this guy.
So the last lesson, we
core
just
stuff.
put the chair behind the hips and really just try to take half swings, keeping your hips against the chair.
Yeah, I would love it if you, because I saw that video. If you, I think you can upload that or just send it to me so I can upload it on the, so people listening can know what you're talking about, because I watched that quite a bit too when you were doing that, and I was like, what is he doing with that chair?
Or if you want to know how to do it right, you just watch my video that I uploaded.
Oh yeah.
I went to Emerald last night to hit some
You
balls
even
in the
slowed
cold.
it down. That was
Well, it was for me, and you asked for it. I went to Emerald to hit balls last night.
yeah.
Trying
Oh, so
to
you
hit-
in the range?
Oh my god, it was good for about 10 balls, and then I was like, fuck this.
It's not like the net.
Well, it's like 20-mile-an-hour winds. It was
Yeah.
40 degrees. I'm like, my daughter, because it was her first day of practice,
Yeah.
she had to go walk. So I get to the range. I get a text from her. She's like, "Do you have any heat? What are they?
Oh, the thermal
No,
bags.
those
Yeah.
like
Packets.
yeah, heat pads or whatever." I'm like, no,
God.
sorry, hand warmers. Nope.
I know. You just look outside and you're just going, oh, come on.
Yeah,
Hurry up already. Every year it's like that.
Garrett posted, Willinger's is opening up or whatever. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Let's go." I'm like, "Yeah, let's fucking go ice skating."
Right. Let's freeze our balls out.
I'm good if it's not above 50.
I had a buddy reach out to me right when, because Stonebrook opened. It was like a week after we got a little heat stretch. They're like, we're opening. And I'm like, no, I like my shoes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like my shoes a little bit too
If
much
it's
to
the
go into
fall, I can do 45 and above.
that. Yeah.
One thing,
Not spring.
so I want to. Pioneer Creek is super solid out in Maple Plain, right across the street from Windsong.
Okay.
It's sand-based greens. It's really sand-based golf course in general. I played it that Monday when it was like 66. Walked it, fantastic. It
Wasn't sloppy at all?
No, I mean it was
Nice.
I don't know what the greens probably rolled at like an 8.5 to a 9. It was like playing real golf, and I was completely shocked. The Gophers played right behind us,
Okay.
and it was unbelievable. So
That's pretty remarkable when you can get a course that has that good of drainage that is just ready, you know? I think about TPC is very sand-based too, you know, and that course could be ready earlier, but, you know, obviously they take the precautions and we wait till mid-April till we can get out there. But
Right.
once you get out there, there's nothing that you really have to worry about.
Yeah.
Where's the first place that you usually go?
Me?
Every year? Yeah.
Wherever's open.
yeah,
I know that. Where's that one in New Prague? They're like notorious for
Oh,
being
I
the
won't
first
go
ones
down
out
there, and I won't go to Montgomery. I have after my debacle last year,
You don't ever want to see.
I don't ever really
You
want
don't
to
even
go
want
back
to see Montgomery again.
I heard they were.
Did you hear about it?
Let him tell this story.
I heard they were ripping the clubhouse down, and they were like
Oh, I'm
redoing
sure.
the whole golf course.
I'm sure.
After he was there,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm surprised that place isn't burnt to the
go-
ground. Arson over here.
I don't even
Tell the
remember
story.
how. I don't even remember how we got signed up for that, or what. It was an individual stroke.
Yeah, no, but there
You
was
asked
team.
me to
It
go,
was
or I
team,
asked
though.
you to go, but it was both.
Yep.
Was it?
Yeah, it
Oh
was a
no, it was their
TCG.
club champ. No, it was their club championship.
It was the Montgomery Club Championship, and then TCG also
Like piggybacked on
pigged
it.
off. Yep.
So was it individual plus a team? That's what it was.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So TCG did the team, and then they had there was a club. Whatever the case may be. Let's not distract from
Yeah.
this story, and you tell the story the way that you saw it, and I'll chime in every now and then.
Well, the first day, I think we played really good. I shot even par, and we shot 5 under as a team.
Something like that. Yep.
Okay. The second day,
What happened?
We were
what
late.
happened the second day.
it was cold, and all I know is I couldn't hit the ball. So I went from shooting even par to plus 11 or 12 or something.
Yeah, it was definitely plus 12.
Yeah, it was an 83, just for the record.
Yeah.
No, it was plus 11.
It was a par 74.
No, it was plus 11, I remember.
It was.
And I saved par
listen.
a lot of times up and down
Oh yeah.
that I shouldn't have.
Oh yeah.
So it could have been
easily been 90 in a heartbeat. And we're talking about it all the way down there, and we were just like, yeah, man, you just gotta, first day he played really well, stayed within himself, made putts, got up and down when he needed to. It just was one of those rounds you're just like, all right, just take a hindrance of that into the next day, and we're gonna be just fine. And that shit was left back at Lakeville when we left, or Rosemont, wherever we left from to get down to Montgomery.
Were you celebrating the win before it was?
Well, I know
at the
on
bar?
the first tee. I mean, he's just like, this is in the bag.
I was in second actually because someone shot.
One under.
No, he was 3 under.
No,
Yes,
really? Yeah.
yes. Remember, I was 3 back, and I was like,
But I think he was 6 over the next day.
yeah, like
Yeah.
all I got to do is just go out there and shoot 1, 2 over. I think I'll be just fine. I'll finish second.
Yeah.
What did I do? I shoot fucking plus 11 to finish third.
It was 12.
No, it was.
It was
not.
plus
It was
12.
an 83.
You just said,
No, it was an 83.
oh, okay. It was a par 70.
It was really, really
a
bad.
memorable moment. It was a memorable moment. He knows this.
Yes, we'll never forget it. And I think Montgomery lost a patron that day. Because I don't know if you'll
played
ever
it
go back there.
3 times. It's
Yeah.
not like they're losing a everyday guy.
No, I know. What was it? Montgomery? Was it Montgomery Country Club? What was it?
Montgomery
I can't-
Public.
It's Montgomery
Golf.
National.
Yeah, Montgomery
It
National.
was.
Yep.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
the yellow submarine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you playing this summer? What are you going to do? MGA stuff?
Yeah. So I'm signed up for U.S. Open qualifying right now.
Okay.
First tournament's May 2nd at Windsong,
Nice.
which is like
Sweet.
very soon, and I haven't even been outside yet unless I get on a plane soon.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you said you play Pioneer. How did it feel? How did it feel at Pioneer Creek?
I shot 79. I went 42 on the front and 1 over on the back with 1 bogey. I didn't
Nice.
make a birdie.
Pretty good first time out.
70. Yeah, it wasn't bad. The hard part was so it was still a little soft in front.
Yeah.
And if it was a front pin and you were short, you were guessing. There was, I mean, you kind of weren't sure if you were able to chip it into the slope and let it run, or if you just kind of had to hit it up, and it was just a complete guessing game.
Yeah.
I kind of got to a point in the back nine where it was a front pin. I'm like, I'm just hitting it to the middle of the green. I'm not even going to try to hit it close.
Yeah.
That's what I do anyway.
There's a lot of things you do that we
Middle
don't
out.
condone.
Middle out.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
There's always that shock factor too when you first go outside. I think it's just like, I don't know, it's an auto body experience when you hit the ball outside for the first time. And people in Minnesota or in this kind of climate don't understand that. They don't, it's not really a concept where, oh, you have 5 months that you don't play outside and then you just have to.
the ball
You know,
does
go-
not fly.
It's it's kind of like, it's like riding a bike, but yeah, I've been on a Peloton for 5 months and now you're putting me outdoors with hills and stuff like that, and I'm not strapped into this thing.
Yep.
So it's you hit that ball for the first time and you're going, oh, that looks a lot different than it looked like on the screen.
Speaking of cold golf balls, I don't know if you guys follow My Golf Spy. They're my favorite follow on any social media
I
platform.
think I have, yeah.
Because they're non-biased in what they market, and they test everything. So they recently did a test on temperature of golf ball.
Oh, really?
Cold golf balls traveled like 7 yards less. So I'm sitting in the car driving, and I'm listening to this My Golf Spy read on it.
Putting his balls in his pants.
Yeah, that's right.
So think about this. You're talking about the hot packets, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, how am I gonna? Maybe I can try this spring. So I'm thinking about like a plastic bag, like a sandwich bag or something. You open the hot packet and you kind of just like keep your golf ball in there between, and then switch between holes.
Yeah.
Because then your golf ball would still stay room temperature, at least on the tee ball, and you still would probably, and the faster your swing speed, the closer to normal temperatures, the farther the ball's going to
This
travel.
sounds like a
I kinda
patent
wear heated-
pending. And we need you to sign a non-disclosure.
Yeah,
if
right.
you listen to this
Yeah,
podcast.
NDA here today. Yeah, I thought, I do something similar with heated nut cups, but that's just me. It just kind of keys it. But like a thermos, even,
Right.
just have some balls floating in a thermos and some, hot water.
And so
Right?
if it stays room temp, yeah, I mean, you can start hot. If it's really hot out, you actually lose distance. It's almost like the golf ball.
So it has to be at room temperature to get the most.
like 80 to 90 degrees is like the optimal temperature for a golf ball.
Wow.
If it gets like about 95 to 110, the golf ball pancakes too much. It doesn't get the same compression.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's some Bryson DeChambeau shit right there.
I
I'm
know.
way too analytical. I need to turn my brain off.
I know.
sometimes.
Sounds like we got a little
Mitch,
numbersy.
Mitch, at least I figured out why I shot 11 over on the next day because my balls were too cold. They were too hot.
Yeah, I mean your memory is just so bad that you forget it was 12 over, but we just talked about how it was 12 over. That's crazy. But yeah, My Golf Spy, they do a lot of stuff that it makes you think sometimes almost too much. Though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've watched some of their stuff and you're just like, it's like that that meme where the guy from Always Sunny is up against the wall. got a cigarette in his mouth and he's looking at all this stuff. There's all these lines everywhere. I look at that thing and I'm like, I wonder what I can do better. Because what I was watching the other day was like a bar stool. They went and played Rory, or Rory was hitting drives in front of him. And Rory had said something about taking the club back quicker gives you more length. And I'm thinking about my swing and I'm like, I'm pretty, it's not slow takeaway, but it's methodical. And he's like, the quicker you go back, the quicker you go forward. Have you ever thought of, like, that got my head spinning a little bit. Like, I don't understand the physics in that, but
immediately I think about Bryson. The tempo has to match. If you're going to go back fast and you swing through we're going to get mathematical, on a ratio that's at a certain rate to your swing speed, it makes sense to me. If the ratio is much slower, then it might not.
Right.
But coming back to your question about the qualifyings, so the U.S. Open qualifying May 2nd, and then the other qualifiers are like on the west side are Baker and Bluff.
Oh, perfect.
So I'm going to
qualify at Baker. It's not my favorite.
No.
If you're crooked off the tee, you might as well just
Stay home.
Yeah. So I'm going to Bluff for pretty much everything I can this year on the west side, because that's really the only options you have.
Yeah. Is Windsong tight as well, or is it not?
No, not particular. I mean,
Just long.
The fairways are wide, but if you start missing fairways, you get into the fescue and might as well just re-tee, because you're not going to find the golf ball.
Oh, okay.
You might this time of year, actually, because they burn off of it. They burn it off a lot of times in the fall.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet this year.
So it's very much more link style there, but there's no protection from wind there either.
No.
Yeah,
That's what I like, though. I mean, I like to golf's kind of turned into a game where everyone's about their swing. They're not shot makers. They're not golfers. They don't go out to learn how to score. They go to the range to try to perfect the way their swing looks.
Right.
And there's something to be said for going on the golf course and learning how to score and not think about, is my swing in the right spot?
Right.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
That's why I don't even do the range anymore. So I'm going to go practice. I might as well just go walk the course
Yeah.
and hit a bunch of different shots.
Yeah, because my swing is not pretty. It looks cool, for sure. I mean, I've had people say that, like, your swing's pretty unique, which is a nice way of saying it doesn't look good.
Well,
but yeah,
I tell you the truth.
I know it doesn't look good coming back, all right? I get it, Jake. I dream about it all the time.
No, but I feel like if we can make some adjustments, you might be more efficient and you might hit the ball farther and straighter. And so that's why I tell you about it. I don't tell you about it to be a dick.
I understand that, because I know I should be hitting it 350, 360 every time I swing the
Well, I
driver.
don't know if I'd get that carried away, but
I mean, I hit it 330 right now. My smash factor is like 45.
Does it only work one direction most of the time? The golf ball off the tee? Does it go left to right most of the time, or is it right to left?
It changes.
Okay, get that going one direction all the time, and then you make yourself work hard to try to hit it the other way.
yep.
That would
Got
help
it.
you. That would help you the most. Like, I'd rather see you fight.
Well, that's what I'm at right now, is because off the tee, I like to hit it right to left now to get more distance.
Yep.
And before it was always just a natural cut that I could hit. Now I have to work hard for a fade
Good.
off the tee anyway. So I do take one side out of it as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I don't know what's up with.
It's your takeaway.
You know what you should do? Stop practicing your driver and just only hit wedges.
This son of a
and chip and
bitch
putt.
doesn't golf with me enough to know what it is. He sees me like once a year and he's like, well, that's a terrible takeaway as I fly him
You just
30 yards.
Flip it inside. Like it's just it's hard to get the club back to square consistently when you do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. If it's off plane,
I don't even know what that looks like, because even when somebody tells you take the club back like here, and I do it, it still gets here on the, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Best thing you can do. This is what I learned at my lesson the other day. Chris Beisch at Hazeltine. I'm going to give him a whatever you call it,
Little pluggy.
little plug here.
Yep.
You guys are awesome. He taught me something super easy that I'm doing at home now. Is you take the driver and you put it in your chest and you grip down on the shaft and you turn the club away that way and maintain your spine angle. It's going to keep everything on plane and actually get you right where you're supposed to go. So when you put the club back down and the grip back down in your hands, you just try to feel that again.
It feels so weird
So
to me.
if you would just do that like 20 times a day,
Yeah.
help a ton.
it would help a ton.
I don't even, like, when you say that to me, I don't even know what that looks like.
Seriously, dude, it's like a stick like this. You put it into your chest and you just turn
Okay.
away, and then you turn through.
Yeah. Pointing so at the ball,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, and you just work away that way like you're gonna hit it like this.
Yep.
Okay.
it's phenomenal. I mean, we'll work on it after this. I'll give you a
So
little.
if I have like a ripstick, right?
Yep.
I could use that.
Absolutely, you can use your driver. I keep a, this is, you think this is goofy. I keep a pitching wedge in my bedroom by my fiance's full length mirror. And
Me too.
So in the morning, that's kind of part of
You conceited fucks.
So that's part of like my routine, and I look in the full length mirror, and that's what it's kind of my new like. I'm working on my golf swing.
like-
Listen, your
He's like
guys'
Mike
full length
Weir.
mirror is a lot different than what my full length mirror would be. Okay, it's a lot different.
Oh boy.
So okay, so you hold. All right, so okay.
Yep.
You just have to turn back, bro.
And that'll get you turning instead of moving the club this way.
I turn a lot.
But it'll keep the club in sync with your turn. So
Got it.
so it'll stay almost what they call perpendicular. It'll stay perpendicular to your middle of your chest.
Yeah, because when I come in, I point this down to keep the club face down, and then
yeah. No,
let her
it
buck.
would help take away so much movement out of your.
Hands and
way, yeah.
arms and yeah. Because it just gets because I feel like sometimes you just have to get flippy and handsy at the bottom because you're just so off.
to catch up somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
I worked on that. I will say that I worked on that a lot last year with the swing coach at TPC, and I don't feel as handsy at the bottom anymore. It's because he really said that too. He's like at the bottom. He's like, he told me he's not really worried about this here because everything else is here. He said, but at the bottom, I got to stop doing this and more
Rotate.
more so. So what I'm really doing is that the swing is so much easier now because I'm coming up and I'm getting in that pocket. I like to call it a pocket where I feel like, okay, now I can go. And then I move my hips and just leave everything there and let the hip swing the club. And I'm a lot more accurate with my irons. And that's how I fix my long irons. Because my long irons, you can't get long irons in general, you just can't get flippy on.
The best thing you can do with a long iron, in my opinion, don't ever try to hit it straight. Don't ever try to hit it straight. You better be playing a 20-yard cut or a 20-yard draw.
Yeah.
If you can hit a long iron dead straight, I mean, it's really hard to do. So if you're going to keep some consistency, you're better off kind of like the shotgun pattern, aim 20 yards right, try to hit a sweeping hook or a heavy draw.
Yeah.
And because at least you know it's going one direction.
Correct.
Yeah, mine's always cutting.
Yep.
There's no draw. I can draw it off the tee just because I can get that club, kind of going this way.
Yep.
But there's no draw off the fairway.
You know, the funny thing about lessons is every teacher has a different theory.
Oh, yeah.
And you can hear the same thing out of the same guy's mouth that he just told me and interpret it completely different in your golf swing or make it it's going to feel completely different because we're both going to just interpret the words a different way.
Right.
With the way that our body moves.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important just maybe for anybody that's listening, find somebody that you can relate to and make the move that he wants you to make. How do you say this the right way? Find somebody that you can interpret that works best to help you get better.
Because what I've been saying is I don't want to be uncomfortable either. I like a little bit of uncomfortability, like that first. It was uncomfortable, but I was still getting the results. If I'm uncomfortable and things are throwing me way off, I'd rather just swing my swing and fix this one thing that feels uncomfortable. You still get the results instead of trying to fix it and then you're duffing a million shots to try to make it work.
I don't want to promote this other podcast, but that Sweet Spot, they talk a lot about swing your swing, because if you get too technical with it, it may not work.
Right.
Especially if you're seeking lessons and stuff. Like you might not be able to feel and real might be two different things,
Right.
So when I hit balls that I'm working on something, I almost don't want to hit it good. I'm not trying to hit it good. I'm trying to get to a position that feels normal so that when I go back to actually making a golf swing, I'm even closer to what I was trying to feel.
Yeah.
And so the more I feel it, the closer I'm going to get to real, and you just more repetition, you get closer to being actually what's happening.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, and one thing that they said is obviously for us, we're busy, we have families, work, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the better we get, the harder it is to maintain that. And we have to practice even more than the guys that are 20 handicaps to get better. Like to keep that level of play up, you just have to practice.
Yeah. We're talking about golf swings here. It's funny because really putting is the biggest difference in separating factor on the tour. You look at the guys that make the Corn Ferry versus the guys that make the PGA Tour greens in regulation percentage. It's like only 0.5% difference.
Yep.
Right.
So it's fun to hit the golf ball. It's more fun to swing than it is to putt, but chip and putt is by far the most important thing.
Yeah.
Oh, by far.
Absolutely. No, and I agree wholeheartedly. I just, for any amateurs out there, what's worked the best for me is, swing your swing. You sit here and you talk about numbers and stuff. Well, I'm looking for a swing that makes it feel like I'm not hitting a ball.
Yep.
It's just that kind of feeling. And I was for sure, I get that flippiness a lot, and that's where it was coming from, because not only was my takeaway here, but I was coming down below the shoulder plane or up over the shoulder plane before. And now the takeaway is what it is, but every time I'm watching video and those numbers, that club is right on that line when I'm coming down,
Are you still doing the Brooke Henderson slide?
Oh yeah.
With the left foot all the way back through impact.
Yeah,
You ever seen this?
she slides.
I've seen his swing.
But like when you hit the driver, it's like he kind of tap dances. His left foot he's like Bubba Watson when he hits it hard. He just completely.
There is a little bit of a reverse pivot, and that's why.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a choice. Because he whips it inside, which then gets him, leaning forward.
Yeah.
And then he comes through. And I used to be very guilty of this. And then he does get the little off and falls back.
But hey, when it all comes together, it's a fucking miraculous thing to see.
I know, but there's so many working pieces for that thing to get to the get to the ball square that it's just we could fix it to get your consistency better, because you are a good chipper and a putter. So I would like to have you not have a mess right or whatever.
Right.
And I feel like him and I could probably fix that.
I definitely still, my biggest strokes lost right now are off the tee.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling
Because you get me, if you put me in the fairway or anywhere close.
I think if you went to a 3/4 swing all the time,
you. 100%.
you'd probably
300.
cut 4 or 5 strokes off your game.
E-
If you
easy.
you just stop trying to get, you only go to 3/4. You think John Rahm or who's another guy that doesn't take it back anymore?
I mean, DJ doesn't even really take it back crazy. I mean, I guess he's got a ton of extension, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you have a great golf swing. You got to believe in yourself too and stay confident in what you can do.
Yeah.
Just know
Yeah.
there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, I think I get the lefts, you know what I mean, with my swing is now I drop too quick and then
Yep.
it goes left. And that's my miss now. And my miss used to always be right. Now it's left.
We're talking about Keith like he's a 10 handicapper here, and
I know.
Keith is a scratch player.
Yeah. No, I make do with what I got, but there's always room for improvement. I think that's what everybody's trying to go for, especially with the time that I have. I do have a lot of time to be, and that's partly on me too, is I much rather go play than practice, and I should practice more than I play, and I just don't do that.
Well, you can turn your rounds into practice.
Not where I golf. I mean, you got to keep things moving. I can't sit there and hit.
Then don't golf there.
One thing
But they have a great practice. They have a great practice facility that I only take advantage of, the chipping and the putting area. I'm not on the range too much.
I don't use the range that often either. I mean, right now I'm hitting balls, but the only time you'll see me on the range in the summer is if something's so awry that it's costing me too many shots on the golf course.
Correct. Right.
Because usually when one thing's not going well, the other thing's going really well.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so
Well, that's I say that all the time. Because I get days where everything matches up and it is scary. And I want to feel that way all the time. I wish I could, but it's either I'm driving it really well and I'm not putting very well. I'm always chipping well. That doesn't change.
I'm always putting well.
I always chip well, but then it turns. Then I'm not hitting it off the tee very well, but I'm making everything within 15, 20. I'm making everything. And it's like, okay. And then you get that one day that it all matches up and it's just unreal. And I always say that it's scary.
are you guys psychological people? Have you ever heard of Dr. Bob Rotella?
I've heard the name, yeah.
He has this book called Golf's Not a Game of Purpose.
Purpose, which is kind of like
Golf's not a game of perfect, but it's
Perfect,
literally about getting out of your own head's way.
Right.
So that's when you go out and you birdie 5 holes in a row, that's your ability. But you almost have to teach yourself to go into that unconscious state.
Yeah.
And that's what happens on tour when these guys fire off 59. They just go unconscious. And
Yeah, it's one shot at a time.
they're not even thinking. They're just point, click, react.
right.
Yep.
And that's just kind of what we all.
I
Strive to
feel
get
like
to at
that's
some point.
changed my way I plot around the golf course. We talked about that first episode, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Just like it's just one shot at a time. Pick a target, go.
Yep.
Don't try to make a mess of what you just did, or you're 3 under, 4 under. You're going to shoot a low round. Don't even think about it.
Yep.
Because once you start thinking about that, right out the window.
Well, our expectations are so high on the golf course. I mean,
Yeah.
you expect to make every 8-footer. Did you know the average tour player makes an 8-footer 50% of the time?
Yeah, that's insane.
Like,
Yeah.
follow Lou Stagger, follow Scott Fawcett on Twitter. Your expectations of what you shoot, the way you hit the golf ball, all of that will completely change.
Well, I think too that's just when you watch golf, you're only seeing the good stuff.
Right.
You very rarely see the bad stuff. And you're not seeing the whole field. I mean, this is a field of 100 and some players, and you're seeing 5 players, all the time. And those are the 5 best players in the world. So we think we have to get to this crazy level because it's like, well, how do they get that good? It's like, those are the 5 best players in the world. Those are the 10 best players in the world.
And they're playing that day on Saturday and Sunday in the afternoon, and there's a reason why they're on the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think too, the inconsistencies within amateur golfers too is this notion of scrambles, which I want to talk about scrambles a little bit because you're really heartfelt on scrambles messing up your swing. I never believed it until recently because I think about my swing when I'm going and playing by myself, especially off the tee, and then the expectation people have of me when I go play scrambles because people call me for one reason and one reason only: get us as far down there as you possibly can.
Yep.
Okay. And so that's my job in scrambles. Well, now I have to go try to play my own round, and it's totally different. I rarely hit driver off the tee in my own round. I'm hitting 3-wood or hybrid or something. I'll hit driver if you give me a big enough fairway, but
I'm disappointed,
That's-
Keith. That's your biggest weapon, and you put it away.
Because the dispersion is not 40 yards. It's
no, I think my dispersion's a lot. I think you're.
right, but
I think you're underestimating.
You're afraid of a miss because that's exactly what I do too.
I'm not afraid. I'm afraid of because where I play myself, and it also in scrambles though too, is I'm not playing all the way back. No. If you put me all the way back, that driver's never coming out of my hands. Well, but there is something to be said when you're in your pushed up so far.
You also have to play at a yardage that is actually like how you would play. You're not going to play from the way back tees at TPC, I think, on a regular basis.
I do every time.
You play from the tour tees every time you play there?
I mean, I play from the blacks wherever they have them set up.
Why?
Why?
Why? Is that fun?
I don't think it's fun, but I feel more comfortable off the tee. And I feel more uncomfortable on my second shot.
Even at Island View, I mean, from the men's tee at Island View, it's 62.50. The only time I think I ever play the back tee is a club championship. It's more fun to go out there and make birdies and go low than it is
and
to
use every club in your bag.
Yeah.
I don't like driver, 7-iron at TPC or driver 6 iron?
Yeah, 6, 7
Yep.
iron, yeah.
Like, that's not
every
fun.
single time.
No.
Like,
No, I know.
We played all the
so
way
when
back.
I play up, I play at the league. I like playing from the blues because I have to use more things off the tee because I cannot hit driver off the tee. There's par 5s I can't hit driver.
I mean, there's courses that obviously you can play all the way back because they're only 6,500 yards or
Right.
whatever. But when you start getting into the 7,100 yards, like what's the
7,400.
Well,
whatever?
I mean, I have this conversation because Island View is 65.50 from the back tee, but you play Island View from the back tee and then you go play, let's say Chaska Town course.
Yeah.
From the back tee, that's like 7,000.
Yeah.
You hit a lot of the same clubs. It's because of the bent fairways versus the bluegrass fairways. It really evens it out. So it's not always the yardage that
Correct.
it's just the conditions of the golf course.
Yeah, there's still holes out. And that's the thing too is I like playing further back because I can hit the driver because you're right. It's the best weapon in my bag. That and my
Wedge.
I'd say any of my wedges, I guess.
I mean, there is trouble out there though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know?
But the further back you go, that trouble is not even in the area code. And I think that's why it's more comfortable. That course is so much easier off the tee from way backs and your second shots are harder. The further you go up, it's harder off the tee, way easier if you make it in the fairway.
Par 3s can't be fun.
And that's the problem. Oh, par 3s there, yeah. They're all 230 some. That number 9 at TPC,
I haven't been there since they reconfigured
that
it.
thing's hard. And the wind is always in your face if it's windy. They get well, that's what you saw last year at the 3M Open.
Yep.
Is it actually started blowing. There was actually wind 2 days. They're solid wind. And you saw where those scores got to is because we always play in the wind there. It don't matter. And there's something to be said about that because that's why I feel so comfortable in the wind. And I always have ever since we played at Southern too. Southern's always freaking windy too. And then Windsong's always windy.
Yeah.
I like when it blows. When I'm in a match or something, blow because I've felt it.
You got when I play tournaments and I'm behind club championship Island View like 2018 or 19 it was. I forget what year it was, but I knew I was 6 back, and I always pray for rain because I feel like I'm mentally stronger than my opponent, and so I pray for rain and wind because I know if it rains and windy, they're gonna bitch.
I crumble,
and I'm just gonna tear them up.
I've got a good example of that. Southern Hills Club Championship, Keith was winning after the first round, and he shit the bed the second day, and I moved up into second because it was so windy and shitty, and I just flighted the ball on every shot.
Yeah.
And I shot like a 74 or something, and
Let's
everybody
not
else was
forget
in the
that I had
80s.
only played golf for 5 years at that point, and I was
Doesn't matter.
leading a club championship.
Hey, no, that's good. I've let out there
Y'all
before.
with me?
It's like you're playing with that guy, and he's got like he's standing on the 17th hole, and he goes, "If I par in, I shoot 79."
Yeah, exactly. I get that way a lot too, because I go all hot or I come in hot. You know what I mean? I get those rounds where I'm shooting 44, 32, or I go 32, 44. I've had a lot of those rounds too. And one of them I think of a lot is probably the best night I ever played when I shot 6 under at Valleywood on the back. It was the front 9 because we started on the back. That's when one of those things where I said, when everything lines up, it's scary. But that day, I think when I shot my best, I was hitting like 4 irons off of some of those tees.
You have to there.
Right. And just getting in the fairway. And that's what's so crazy. And that's when I go back to scrambles. am not doing a lot of that ever. I'm trying to go
Scrambles
for
are
greens.
terrible.
The one thing I like about them is if you can, when you practice hitting your driver, or when you do all the time, is it an in-play swing, or is it I'm trying to drive it out there? And so,
I wish I could bring it to the course, because in a scramble, I don't miss. But
because you're just letting it go, because you don't care where it goes, because you got guys behind you or in front of you.
I wish I could bring that mentality. And how do you bring that
That's
mentality?
how you have to do it.
You might as well just start swinging out of your shoes on every single golf swing, because then you're gonna have a consistency factor. So like State Open 2 years ago was at the Royal. It was 2 days. I missed the cut by 1. Long story short. Anyway, the fairways at the Royal are freaking wide, and I was somewhat of a short hitter playing with a lot of these guys that play for all these D1 schools. And I remember swinging out of my shoes on every tee box with my driver, just as hard as I could hit it. And because you play with the same 2 guys for the first 2 days, and by the time we got to Sunday on the last hole, I swear I was only 5 behind him on day 1. By the time we got to Sunday in the afternoon, I was probably 20 yards behind him. I just got gassed.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I see that a lot with my swing, is because I get so tentative, and that's when my misses happen.
100%.
If I just let it go, I got to trust myself enough, like I do in scrambles. I'm the last. I take pressure just fine. So it's not a pressure thing, I don't think, because every scramble I'm hitting last.
Yeah, but you're not. Your score is not going to be 8.
Do you actually feel pressure in a scramble though?
No. I've been in scrambles where I'm the only guy.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And you got it. Everybody's out of it, and they're still saying you got to hit the driver because we got to get down there. And everybody else is OB or they're in the water. I'm still hitting the driver, and guess what? I nutted down the fairway.
Yep.
I wish I could bring that to the course, and I think that's kind of what you're alluding to. Is I need to have the same swing, and just be, because I get too aggressive sometimes on a lot of things, but if I could bring the mentality, because when I go into a scramble, that's my thing. I'm a good scramble player, because I'm just like, let's go. You know, I'm gonna smash the ball all day, and that's just
Easy to
line.
be confident when you're not playing your own ball.
Well, if you have time to play 9 holes after a scramble one day, I know those days get long.
Yeah.
But I would just go out to the TPC or whatever, and just try to find that same mentality you had when you hit the golf ball in the scramble.
Yeah.
And then try to keep that thought, write it down on a piece of paper, whatever you're thinking or feeling.
Yeah.
And then open it up when you get on the range the next day, see what that.
As well, this will be the first year that I ever play a scramble sober.
Yeah, dude.
Too.
That's cool.
So I'm pumped about that, kind of that mentality, and how I can bring that stuff to the. But there is
It brings the fun level.
Yeah.
kidding.
I'm still a fun guy.
I know you are a fun guy.
So that's the things that I think a lot of amateurs can take from that, because amateurs play in scrambles. It's just something that they do. There's fundraisers everywhere. A lot of people only play in scrambles.
Yep.
And that's how they first get their golf itch. But I liked kind of that topic and talking about that. To kind of wrap things up a little bit, what are you doing now? You said you're at Hazelton, but and the things that you're looking to pursue this year, is that still on your mind? that's what you want to win a state am? Has that kind of been a goal of yours? And with your busy, I mean, you're a busy guy, busy schedule. This is probably the hottest market for both of you. How do you continue to have that passion for golf and continue to improve and try to reach those goals on the course by still filling the pockets off the course, I guess?
Yeah, so time blocking has been a huge thing for me this year that I've really been working really hard at, is putting the time into my calendar. And then we've been trying to leverage the team a little bit with the real estate company to have a little bit more time to be able to do things like that. We've basically flipped our buyers and listings this year too. So we sold 20 homes pending closed in the first quarter this year, and 11 of them were listings, 9 were buyers. So we're trying to switch towards more of a listing heavy thing, but then really time blocking when I'm going to play. Yeah. So Thursdays is a day that I take the whole day. Like, that's my one day a week out of the 7 days in a week that I'm trying to not touch work at all.
Right.
And then 2-3 times a week play golf, and then hit balls probably 2 times.
That helps with
early
mentality
in
a
the
little
morning.
bit. Do you do that at all, Jake, or do you more so when you just have gaps? I'm more of a gap guy.
I just gap.
Yeah.
100% gap. With
Right.
kids, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit tougher.
No, send them to school, send them to daycare. If I don't have Avery, like Avery's always busy at night, at least when she's with me, I can take her now to the golf course. But with the toddler now, we probably can't do as much night golfing. So with work, I probably would rather get the kid and wife and the rest of the kids to school and then take off and go to the course early in the morning and just play by myself.
I know a lot of guys did it last year. I mean, if you're the first one off and you're in a cart, I mean, you can get around a golf course in an hour and a half, hitting every fairway and green.
For sure.
And a lot of courses, I think, do have like early bird kind of things where you can put your name down on a list and you can start on the back 9, because by the time you get to the front, the crew's already through. I know we have that at our course. People will call in the day before, say, hey, I'm going to be an early bird. Can I have my stuff ready? And they get out there and they're scooting in 2.5 hours.
Right.
And
I'll walk.
for most amateurs, most of the guys that are listening to this podcast are of the amateur variety, right? They're not putting that much time in their game. What do you think as a collective? Let's all talk a little bit about, and this will kind of be the last topic. What is the most important thing to do to get better? I know over practicing sometimes can get, then you becomes a head case. Overplaying, you're not thinking, you're not getting those reps in as much because you're switching clubs so often. Is it, play 9 when you can? Is it, what is the kind of the sweet spot to be at for an amateur golfer that maybe works 40 hours a week but still wants to get better? I mean, is that even possible?
Absolutely. My biggest advice would be, as much as fun as it is to go smash your driver, leave all your clubs at home except your driver and your wedge, and only chip and putt, because that's going to be the fastest place you're going to make up strokes. I know it sounds boring, monotonous. Find a playlist you like, come up with a game that you can play around the putting and chipping green with your friends, but that's where you get better exponentially very quickly if you have time to do that.
Yeah, I'll use an example. My father-in-law, good player, he'd shoot like mid to low 90s. He's a member at New Richmond.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Wisconsin there?
Yeah.
That's a nice club.
Yeah, for sure. So, but we worked heavily on his chipping. So I was like, Greg, you got to start using like a pitching wedge instead of trying to use your 60 all the time. Like, it's just not working. You're just going to come up short, or you're going to, sky it in the air, or skull it over the green or whatever. And got him using his pitching wedge, kind of worked on ball position and stuff. And I had him shooting under 80. Like, he's like back to where he was 40 years ago.
So find that one thing you're bad at.
And his putting was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better now, but just to latch onto your point, I think you have to learn how to chip and putt before you really do anything. And that's where you can do that in your office. You can do that at your house. You can do you can chip in your yard.
I have a perfect practice putting mat at home.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use it. I don't like it. I'm trying to get rid of it. So
yeah,
if somebody wants it, for
DM me, we'll get a hold of Mitch,
like
and
$15 you can have it.
There you go. Let's get it out of here.
And that's like, so I have a junior golfer who really doesn't have any experience. She doesn't really want to practice, but I do have the hitting bay in the garage.
Yeah.
But I told her, I go, if you don't want to hit shots, then go out there. It's all fully turfed. We have a white hockey puck that we use as a hole. Go hit putts.
Yeah.
The floor, it's sloped, so you can hit right to lefters, left to righters. You can hit them downhill, uphill. Like, go hit putts.
Yeah, for me, I think I know I need to hit the range more. But when I go out and get ready for a round, I maybe hit 5 to 10 balls on the range. But the first thing I do is I chip, because if I can get my hands to feel that ball off the tight lies and be able to, do that, then when I get to the range, I'm peering so many more shots. Then vice versa. If I go on the range and I'm trying to, peer shots, then I go to chip. Well, it's, that works backwards in my mind. So first thing I do is I go on the chipping green. I just try to pick balls and get that consistent contact where I want to hit the ball at before I get to the range. But there's many times too that I just chip and I putt and I go. And I have some of my best rounds by not hitting the range sometimes, but I think that's more of a
head thing. Well, because you can go out on the range, and if you're missing all over the place, then you're like, great.
Yeah,
right. First tee, you're like, I don't even know where this is going to go.
Right.
up there circling in your mind.
One more thing I want to throw out there that I've been big on that's been massive for my putting this last year, and I didn't ever do this till this last year.
Okay.
Go get fitted for your putter. Seriously,
100%.
it is the biggest game changer in golf that people undervalue. Honest to God, if you don't even know how your ball's coming off the face, but when you can put it on the Quintec.
That thing is the coolest thing ever.
It's unbelievable.
Where's this at? Like a second swing?
Okay. Go see whatever fitter. They're Larry Bobka's my guy. But, I mean, it's night and day. I'll be playing golf with people, and their strokes aren't very good by my opinion, but the ball goes in the hole a lot. And usually at that point, I'm like, did you get fitted for your putter? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes.
Yep. I took Avery to get fit for a putter at second swing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So we would just pick some off the rack, and she is a little bit of a, inside, face open, down the line. Well, she had my old TaylorMade Rasa. That thing was all bent to shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you need a better putter. So I took her in there, literally got this Cleveland. It was $100, but it was perfect for her. Just the way they do the testing or whatever. She literally drained 10 footers in a row.
Really?
I was like,
so can they fit
that's
your
the one.
current putter, or do you have to buy a brand new one?
Yeah, so my buddy has a Trillium 22 he went in there with, really nice Scotty Cameron, and he was like, you're putting great with this. We're just going to change the loft on it. So that's all they did was to get it rolling better instead of skipping or something right away.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, you definitely should get fit for a putter.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I can putt with anything, but
it'd be more fun to make more putts, right?
yeah, that's
Consistent though.
Yeah.
And they will see like, okay, well, you're like, you have to make these putts, you have to hold the face or do something weird. And if you get the putter that you're supposed to use, you'll make them more consistent.
Yeah, I think step one is getting a consistent stroke, whether it looks awful or not.
I can make putts with a putter that has no toe hang, and I can make putters with toe hang. Like I can do that because I hand-eye, whatever. But to be more consistent, you should probably go with what you do naturally, whether it's a,
So don't try to manipulate your stroke. Make the stroke that's natural and find the club that works best for you.
Works best
Correct.
for you. Well, we have come up with some great tidbits. I'm sure the people that have been watching Miller and Dricksy, and we do appreciate everybody out there who's been watching so far. I know people are really excited to have Mitch on today, and I think we got some great tidbits from you. So I do want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast,
Appreciate
brother.
it.
While we're wrapping up here, is anything that you want to plug? Obviously, you're doing some real estate stuff, but anything else you want to kind of plug while you're on here? Say hi to Ma. Say whoever.
his golf coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, I've been plugging Larry Bobka all year. He's phenomenal at second swing.
Yeah.
Very instrumental in moving my golf game to have a chance to compete at the state am. So I'm just going to keep plugging for Larry Bobka.
Awesome.
Go see him, get putter fitted, get club fitted, whatever it might be.
Well, best of luck this year, Mitch. I do appreciate you taking the time and coming in on this beautiful day in Minnesota. We'll be back next Wednesday for another episode of Miller and Dricksy's Pod, baby. But for now, this is all we got.
Bye.
Bye.
Cause I'ma need a higher ceiling. Well, I'ma need a higher ceiling.